Every day we watch content that makes us feel like we are living the life we want. We watch people have relationships instead of risking one, watch people build projects instead of building your own, and watch people live a life instead of living one yourself. Our brains get a cheap simulation of fulfillment, and slowly our real ambitions start to disappear. But what if the thing killing your drive isn't failure, but the illusion that you've already arrived? Have you ever heard the advice not to talk about something you're working on because you might accidentally use up all the relevant dopamine in the talking and then lose all motivation for actually doing the thing? If you're anything like me, you might very well have very high aspirations for, I don't know, the bucket list of things that you're going to do before you die, including things that are going to take a lot of time and effort, like writing a book and running a marathon. And sometimes you might have an idea you're particularly inspired about and you might mention it to somebody, and that's where things can start going downhill because they might say something like, oh my god, that's a great idea, or yes, you're just the kind of person who should be writing a book, or that would be so impressive if you did that. And all of a sudden you get this feeling of satisfaction at having completed this monumental task without ever having lifted a finger. It's like I've cut myself short by getting the feeling that would have been waiting for me at the end of the finish line of the marathon, but before I've done anything at all. It's like getting paid before doing a job. Like, why would I still do the job? And I'll admit, I'm a praise-driven person, but this happens with stuff I'm intrinsically motivated to do too, because it's not just the other person's words that give me that sense of fulfillment too soon. Do you know how many DIY projects have been DNF'd due to me spending all of that like excited, inspired energy in like a borderline masturbatory haze scrolling through the sleek images of other people's creations on Pinterest? It's like, oh my god, I could make this, or I could make that, or like that would be an amazing conversation piece. Imagine how impressive it would be if I did that thing. Meanwhile, I'm avoiding eye contact with this slowly drying dresser that I painted green in the corner of the room, knowing while I scroll that I don't actually have the persistence and ability to push through the friction of hand painting delicate birds and flowers all over this dresser. Like, there's a part of me in that moment even that knows it's not gonna happen, but I'm so hooked on this idea of the thing that it could be and getting the feeling of what the idea of having created this thing would do for me that I can't stop, and I can't use my excited energy towards actually working on the project because I'm just stuck in this loop. So I'm not even bringing all this up because I want to talk about self-improvement or like habit optimization or whatever. I'm bringing this up because I'm trying to get at this vague amorphous mechanism of wanting a feeling, something that you'd usually get from directly experiencing something in life, from your hands-on an activity, from feeling something in your body, from, you know, your actual physical circumstance in the world, and then accidentally giving ourselves like an artificial version of that feeling through content. And it's not that somebody couldn't technically do things while also watching content about other people doing them online. Like, sometimes you watch instruction videos and whatever, like sometimes it does genuinely inspire you and motivate you to actually do something. Maybe this is just for people who have brains like me who can relate to this experience, but I also do think it happens more than we realize or maybe care to admit that the content we watch can sometimes on a one-to-one basis literally take away movement towards living your own life, which on the basis of like making a hand-painted dresser, it's like, it's fine, it's not the biggest deal. So a frequent thing for me is I'll often call a friend while I'm doing housework, doing laundry, dishes, whatever, because it's just a nice time to catch up. It requires so little concentration on the task that I still have most of my brain free to like talk and have a conversation and be able to be engaged with that, and it's entertaining for something that you might otherwise be like pretty bored doing. And when a friend doesn't answer, I'll usually like listen to a podcast or a YouTube video instead, because it kind of fulfills that desire for stimulation, for almost social hour, for just having a little bit of connection, hearing from somebody. And I'm not all against parasociality. I think it gets a lot of gets a bad rap, but like, you know, it does parasocially fulfill that desire for connection. So then 2 hours later, when my friend is free and calls me back, I might not answer because I've now like fulfilled the desire for social connection, and I honestly am an introvert and I'm a little bit socially drained now. Like, I've heard somebody talking at me for the last hour and a half, and I no longer have the energy to have an actual conversation with somebody. Which I know sounds ridiculous, but whatever, I'm not here to like justify myself or my social battery, like it's fine. So once in a while, this is not the worst thing ever to happen. Schedules don't always align, like it's not that big of a deal. But over the course of my lifetime, this is so much settling for a false sense of connection at the cost of my real life relationships. And I think that's a big deal. That's crazy. So if you watch content the way I do, with like a fervency that leads you to frequently forget that it's not a real actual hobby, I worry that we're perpetually fulfilling so many of our, like, the hungers and desires of our very souls through illusions and simulacra and false 2D versions of the real feeling we long for. We're going to trick ourselves out of actually experiencing our lives. Like, we're turning into the pod people from the Wall-E ship, and the thing is, we're not even unaware of it. We're not even unaware of it. It's just easier to not change it. Oh, God. Let's get into some of the specifics of what the content we watch is emotionally selling us. So for me, cottagecore and the tradwife trend are ones that I'm super emotionally susceptible to, because I want what they are selling to me emotionally. Like, I want that emotional sense that you can feel in every video, at least I can. And when I say that, I don't mean that I want 1950s gender dynamics in my relationship or to milk a cow ever, but I think even if you don't feel particularly drawn to that kind of content, I think what they're emotionally selling is pretty obvious. I mean, basically all of the commentary content on the internet is all about it, right? Like, we live in a time where it's really hard to feel ease. We live in a time of constant distraction and overwhelm, overstimulation. We live in these really busy cities. We all want more free time, we want ease. Like, it's not that hard to make sense of why it's gotten so big the last couple of years. Wholesome, homegrown, homemade food, and the time and energy to pour love into the food I make for myself and the people I love, like, please. The time and concentration to work on, like, slow, methodical hobbies that would yield quality household items and clothes instead of, like, cheap Temu bullshit that'll die after one round in the wash. The mental space and energy, the financial ability to be like a stay-at-home mom in this day and age and not be chronically, critically under-resourced and unsupported the way I think most modern motherhood is existing right now. Like, call me crazy, the bar is quite low, but all of that does sound like everything I could possibly ever want in life. Now, if you ever actually did spend the time to say, learn how to make sourdough at home. And I know I'm years and years late to this, but I have to wait for things to not be as popular anymore, so it loops back around to feeling like it's my idea and something I genuinely want to do. But what one might come to find about that experience is that there's actually a lot of friction in the process, right? So it takes weeks and weeks and weeks to actually develop your own sourdough starter. There's a lot of really confusing instructions all over the internet. Like, everything is claiming to be the beginner's guide and it's all saying something different, and it feels like you kind of need like a chemistry degree to start to really understand what you're even meant to be doing. And there's the anguishing realization that the dopamine your brain had allotted to the task of like getting this project started, it's about to run out, and you might be about to quit this project whether or not you're ready to, I don't know, let go of your new title of like expert home baker, right? Like, I still aspire to doing that, and yet the jar of starter has been sitting there on the counter for months now, and nothing has happened with it. So, and your starter is just out of the blue gonna stop showing any signs of activity at all after weeks. After weeks of labor, it's just gonna give up on you. Ask me how I know. So this is the friction of the real life, actual experience you would have taking part in an activity for yourself. And I think most of us know that we're being sold a mirage in this content. Like, there is a vague awareness that the life you long for, that cottagecore life full of making muffins and hand sewing dresses and going and frolicking in fields, eating wild berries and stuff, like, actually doing those activities tends to be a quite different experience than the feelings that you're hoping for when you watch the content, right? Like the peace and contentment that comes when you flick through a few Nora Smith TikToks. I guess I'm even kind of talking about the whole like nostalgia bait thing, where it's like everything is rose tinted when it's not the thing that's currently happening. Because when it's currently happening, you're experiencing all aspects of the thing and you're not just watching it back like a perfect movie of a different period of your life that, given the time of space of that being history now, you can romanticize it. Like, it's the same kind of thing, except for now you're comparing your real life to not only a period of time that you can never make back, but like somebody else's life entirely. The feelings of peace and contentment and whatever else you're wanting to get from the content that you watch, the content that emotionally appeals to you in particular, which might be different from what appeals to me, those feelings are going to be a lot different and a lot harder to access in real life. When you work on these things, these hobbies, whatever, for yourself, there's so much more friction, and there is like a deep sense of fulfillment when you do finally finish something, but it's a lot harder one than just sitting back and letting these images wash over you and watch these like movies in your mind about what that life could be like for yourself. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like I'm being vague, but it's hard to describe the quality I'm talking about. So you watch a vlog of someone going for the walk that you wanted, complete with aesthetic footage of the wind in their hair, the evocation of a sensory full-bodied experience, wind, sun, the sounds of birds flying above your head, the feeling of movement in your body, and it's all rendered into a crisp 2 dimensions, ready for your consumption. And you don't have to get off the couch. Watching someone make the blueberry muffins, I wanted to smell the sweet aroma of drifting out of my kitchen. At least I didn't have to do dishes, I guess. I have frustratedly watched myself try to consume my way to feeling the way I wanted to feel for years. There's a blatant, obvious, and depressing difference between the books that I own that I have read cover to cover probably multiple times, and the ones that I've bought and read maybe a chapter or 2 of. The first category represents quickly gripping stories, a much lower bar to entry, probably literally much sexier stuff to be reading about than the category of books I bought more aspirationally. I feel the need to defend this action a little bit. Like, I bought these books because I wanted to read them, I'm interested in them, and I still do and still am. I come and pick them up when I'm thinking about something and I'm trying to understand my thinking better or a lens of the world better around one of the topics that they talk about. They're about things I'm deeply interested in, and I bought them because I'm hungry to, like, intellectually sink my teeth into, you know, not just the ideas, but the lens of looking at the world and understanding things better that they bring. They're also infinitely more challenging to read, much less dopaminergic, and much more frictionful than the books I read on repeat. Defenses aside, I can't not consider the feelings that motivated these purchases. By buying these books, I was attempting to buy into, to invest in an aspirational version of myself, the person that I want to be, that I want to see myself as, that I want other people to see me as well.
Now, I have a long history of buying journals I don't actually write in because there's this huge difference between the person I actually am and the person I wish to be, and I continue to believe, despite all evidence, that somehow making a purchase will help me bridge this divide, but it never does.
By buying these books, I was attempting to buy into, to invest in, the person I want to be in the world. The aspirational version of myself that is the person I want to see myself as, the person I want other people to see me and respect me as well. Someone who's thoughtful and considerate about the ways they engage with the world. Someone who's carefully considered the perspectives they hold and not just has arrived at them accidentally. The thing is, though, buying is an extremely easy way to feel like you're being the person you want to be and engaging in the world the way you want to, but it doesn't necessarily represent reality. Did I fucking put my phone under the covers before I made the bed? I literally did. I swear to God. I swear to God, I'm over this. Fuck B-roll.